Today's episode of Howdy Fort Bend is sponsored by Sugarland's premier fence provider, Fort Harris Fence Company. As a family-owned business, we take pride in delivering top-notch service and craftsmanship right here in our hometown. Whether it's for added privacy, security, or curb appeal, call or text 832-308-8277 for your free quote today.
Howdy, Fort Bend. William Ferguson coming to you today from my studio in Harris County. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but we do such a great job at this studio. I'm always highlighting it. And today, I have a very special guest for you. Someone that you most likely will know. Someone that I bet you love, or maybe you don't love. But I got to tell you, you ready for this? In politics, everybody that represents we the people is my friend, because we have to do what the people want. And today, my special guest is the one and only county judge from Fort Bend County, KP George. KP, thank you for being here.
Thank you, William. That was so kind of you to say that, all good
Sure.
things. And it's good to hear, because sometimes you hear all the echo chamber people making all these noises. And you and I know that if you pay just attention to that, we cannot do this business.
No.
And so I'm okay, and I am perfectly fine, but I'm so happy to be here. And I just wanted to talk to you directly, the audience here. I just want you to know that most of you, all of you know me. And like William rightfully said, some like me, some don't like me, some in between. That's all fine.
Right.
That's all fine. But I just want you to know this. The immigrant story of Fort Bend County. And I came to this country 32 years ago with a hope and few bucks in my pocket to live in this country. And that's the beauty of our country. And came and raised 3 children, my wife, together. And she's an educator by profession, and and our children are doing exceptionally well by the grace of God. And then this crazy idea came to me saying that, I need to get involved in politics. I need to give back to the community. And you all know that I didn't win elections earlier 2-3 times, and then of course I started winning. And in 2019, you all gave me an opportunity to serve this wonderful county, Fort Bend County, and I never took that lightly. The decisions I made, maybe you agreed, you disagreed, but the thing about it is my intention was always to serve the people of Fort Bend County.
Yeah.
And I will ask you for grace. If you didn't like what I said, or if I didn't like what I said, I ask you for grace. And we fixed something yesterday. It is always good to make changes, and it's always good to make that change based on information. And you all know that yesterday I announced I'm switching party to move it to Republican Party, because that's where I believe I belong, and I will give you the reasons why. God, family, and the society, and of course lower taxes, and that all Republican Party champion ideals. That ideals are championed by Republican Party. And then you would ask maybe why this, why that. None of us coming from outside this country, not born and raised, neither Republican nor Democrat. And we pick a side, we feel that is the right thing to do, and later I realized that is not the right side. That's where I got into all these issues I'm dealing with, but that's okay. I will continue to fight for the people of Fort Bend County. And one thing about me is I never back down, and we will move forward. But so meantime, I will ask you for grace, and I will deliver what you expected of me. And if not, I like to hear from you, and you want come and talk to me, give me a little grace and talk to me, and we will have that conversation. I'm willing to correct anything if I did wrong or I am doing wrong. I'm nothing any special other than, like you. I mean, I'm a tax-paying citizen, I'm a parent, and I'm a community member. So are you. And maybe today I have the county judge cap, and in the past I didn't have it. One day I'm not going to have it. So one thing we have in common is You're going to be a parent. I'm going to be a parent. We are going to be a tax-paying citizen, and we are going to be part of this community. And that's the assurance. And I will ask for your grace to continue this journey with you all, William.
We all need grace.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need it more than most people. So I think that's a good message. And, you know, a lot of people may not know this, and you brought it up in an earlier conversation. You and I have not always agreed.
No, we did.
And you know what I love about that is we haven't always agreed, because I learn from people I disagree with. So what I wanted to do is kind of inject a little county business in our casual conversation, because I know we have budgeting coming up. I know we have redistricting on the table. We have so many things going on. What are your thoughts about the sort of immediate, I'm going to call the next 2 years of Fort Bend County, or maybe longer? What are your thoughts about all this?
Let's talk about next 6 months.
Okay, next 6 months.
Next 6 months. And, you know, and obviously you mentioned redistricting, and there are numerous flaws with the current plan, and I am guilty of that because that plan was put under my name.
Right.
And so obviously a number of things is not right about that, and I understand that there are some higher authorities are going to be reviewing that plan, and they will come back with their opinion, and we need to make changes to make it right, and not politically right, make it right for the people of Fort Bend County, and which I'm sure, I'm 100% sure it is going to be done. But the thing about it is redistricting, I remember somebody mentioned maybe a while ago, it's a political process. You might agree, I might disagree. Right. But it is a political process. Those who feel they are benefiting, they are going to be happy. Those who feel it's not going to be benefiting me, they are going to be angry. Right. But at the end, there is a vote, and the court decide which way it is going to go, and that's what is going to happen. But coming back to, you mentioned about the budget. It is important to talk about budget.
Sure.
And one of the reasons some of these issues I am dealing with is the budget and spending in Fort Bend County.
Yes.
And when I came in 2019, Fort Bend County's budget was, I believe it is $382 million.
Right.
Today, you know where it is?
It's a lot more than that, closer to 7.
732.
Yeah, it's
732. Our county grew. There is no question about it. But not at that level. And when I look at counties, other counties of similar size, we spent much more money, than many of the counties of our size. Sure. And that's the reason why I brought this conversation. And obviously the left side doesn't like all this conversation because it is somebody else's money. Right. Let's spend it. Right. You know that professionally I'm a board certified financial planner. So I always look at, would I spend this if it is my money?
Right, I'm glad.
And that is the best way to look at it. And I had behind the scene a lot of disagreement with the party I was affiliated with. And then finally they said, okay, you know what, this guy is trouble for them, and so get rid of him. And that's why where I am today, the legal matters, which it will take care of by itself, and we are working on it. But the thing about it is, our residents need to know, and I'm going to talk to your language, the way you understand it. And when your budget, your county budget is going from a little shy of 400 to 732 million in 6 years. Right. And that is, I don't even know how to explain that. And also, some of these members on the court think, not a problem, we have money. But that's going to change. That conversation is going to change. Because we continuously grew. Last year, our property value increased to by almost 10%.
Wow.
Last year. But this year, it increased by 1.8%.
Wow, big reduction.
You know, you come from City of Sugar Land.
Sure.
You guys collect, I was looking at the numbers, millions of dollars in sale tax. Mm-hmm. We don't have that.
Yeah.
County only have the taxpayer dollars. Yeah. They write a check.
Right.
And so next year, if this property values go down by 5%, what do? Oh. We cannot pass a budget. We have to balance it. Yeah. And so what do? You got to cut 5%.
Services that people depend on.
That's right. And also one thing about Fort Bend County is almost 60% of our residents live in an ETJ. Yeah. So they depend on us for this. So we are, and we already had a conversation. I told my budget officer I'm now going to support a number of these projects and number of things we do or did in the past.
Right.
And we are going to cut, and I hope my fellow members of that court will agree, and we are going to cut, and we have to pass a budget financially, fiscally responsible. And I will ask those who are listening to me to pay attention to what is going on Commissioner's Court regarding the budget. There is a draft budget is going to be posted maybe in 2 to 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's coming. And I ask you to come and talk about if you don't like certain things, certain items, and I am here to listen, and I'm here to make sure I'm going to listen to the people, and I'm going to make sure we are going to pass a very conservative budget where we can hopefully put some money back into your pocket, because I always believed this, your money is best in your pocket, not in our pocket.
So sadly, you know this as well as I do, being in city government, sadly very few taxpayers, voters ever even show up to express their concerns, their worries. Very few, but what most do, not all, but many, they get on social media and they just complain about it, but they never engage with the local government, whether it's county or city. And I've always been a little frustrated by that, because we're all working for them, and yet they just think you and I are going to know their pain without them coming and telling us.
Right. Yeah. First of all, social media made a lot of things hard. Mm-hmm. And because it's easy to get behind my machine and write whatever. But that's why some of these people write bad stuff about me, and I'm like, we never had a conversation.
Right.
You have no idea who I am.
Right.
But you're writing all this stuff, and because there is no accountability.
Sure.
Right. So I will ask those who are watching, those who are listening. It's important to pay attention. It is your money, and you open up your checkbook and write that check, and anything you write, around 13 to 14% of, if you write $100 check, around $14 is going to Fort Bend County.
Wow, sure.
And that $14, you wanted to know how it is spent and what the court is doing. Are they financially responsible?
Right.
It is important for you to, because you're the one with the most power to come and say. But many times, William, you know it. You know what people feel? I went and made my noise, but nobody cared, and they voted the way they wanted it.
The only way to reduce the tax rate is going to be, correct me if I'm wrong, is to either reduce the number of services or the quality level of services, or we have to find the waste in the government, like Doge. And so if you're running lean and mean, and I like to always highlight Sugar Land because we're second lowest property tax rate in the state of Texas, and yet we offer some of the highest services. So if Sugar Land or Fort Bend County wants to reduce the rate, they literally either have to have a higher appraisal, which comes out of Austin on our properties, and they can reduce a rate necessarily, or they have to reduce the services or find waste. And sometimes you're not going to find it real easily.
It is not easy,
Yeah.
and you're absolutely right. We don't want Fort Bend County residents write a big check,
Right.
and so they expect
Yeah.
when they write that check, they expect certain things
Sure.
from Fort Bend County, and we are obligated to deliver that.
Right.
And so, but when you look in any governmental
Sure.
entity,
Any level.
you will find place where you could save money.
Muds,
Or
lids, everywhere.
everywhere. There are places you're spending money you shouldn't be. Or maybe you added a new program to, what is going on right now. And so it is important to look at these programs and, understanding what is your primary goal. And when it comes to a county, the primary goal is to make sure the infrastructure is done properly. That means, your drainage, your mobility, your roads and bridges, and all done properly. But in Fort Bend County, we offer more services. Like we have one of the robust library system,
Right.
and we have one of the best EMS services in the state. And so, so many of those services are county started. We will continue to do that. People like that. But the thing about it is, and I am we are already talking. I already talked to my budget officer about looking into areas
Right.
where how we can cut certain services. Maybe we started recently, maybe last 3, 4, 5 years, or whatever that is. Maybe some of these programs need to be eliminated, and you will see that is coming, because in the middle of COVID, we received a bunch of resources. And a lot of people asked for things and gave it to them. And now
Right.
nobody wanted to lose anything,
That's
right?
it.
Yeah, and so this is a challenge, but I am willing to stand up and fight.
Yeah,
for the
temporary
people.
temporary funding that's become permanent.
It is, and
Right.
that is many time on
Right.
one of our commissioners, Commissioner Andy Myers, constantly said this. When you get these positions, when the funding go away, and it will go away,
Yeah.
but that's not what happened.
Right.
And so
Right.
we have to seriously look at it and make sure we are. First of all, our goal is to have no revenue increase.
Right.
A budget.
Right.
And if we can cut further, and that's what I'm looking to do.
But everyone has to understand the difficulties there. So as our county is developing out, you have more residential, you have more water concerns, good gracious. You have subsidence concerns. You have all of these concerns as the county develops out. At some point, someone has to pay for the services to protect us from our development. And I think that's what I'm hearing. But you're making me remember one of the things you and I disagreed on. I think it'll be a fun conversation here. So there were some bonds that were approved not too long ago, and we the people have to understand, you as a representative or me as a representative have to find the time to do the will of the people. So when they offer up bonds that they approve, whether it's funding that's for mobility or whatever the case may be, you have to spend it sooner or later when you think it's appropriate. Now, so as they continue to approve bonds, that affects the tax rate,
That's right.
right?
Yeah. But I just want you to know this. We are, in many ways, so far we were blessed.
Right.
We are able to do those bonds without changing our tax
Perfect.
rates because of our exponential
Yeah,
growth.
right.
But that's not going to continue always, right? I mean, it's not going to happen.
It won't,
And
yeah.
so we have to be very careful. And you are absolutely right. We disagreed on, certain bond propositions, and I have.
How about the YMCA? Remember that one?
Oh yeah, we all love YMCA.
We love 'em.
That one of our commissioners wrote a $2.5 million check, and you know what?
Ugh.
I love to do that if we have extra money saved.
Sure.
But we talk about it before. You are not going to second mortgage your house so that you could do some charity.
Yeah.
And that's how do you understand that? You need to understand money.
Good point.
You need to understand money. And also, I told you, I'm not against any memorial. I'm not against any of that stuff. But you will see out in the nowhere, one of our commissioners are building a $10 to $12 million memorial.
Wow.
Okay, I have no problem with that. I want
Wow.
you to know that. But the same community don't have proper road. And they don't have drainage. They don't have sidewalk. And I talked to the people who lived there maybe 2 weeks ago. And they said, our children come out of that elementary school there and they walk on gravel road. Okay? And we need a road. And I wish that commissioner created a road and used it
Wow.
as a memorial.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Name it that.
Name it.
Yeah, wow.
But the thing about it is, in order to do that, you have to understand money,
But
how money works.
But those resources could be available from a federal level for the memorial, or maybe even state level, but I know a federal level.
Yeah.
Because our Congress representatives, they've helped us with bridges, they've helped us with the YMCA, I believe.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't that come there instead of from ad valorem? Ad valorem scares me when you touch that. Because if
because-
you had a widow woman that can't afford her taxes,
Right.
she loses her home.
Simple reason, not understanding money.
Oh, okay.
And because again, coming back, I have the power to do it, I'm doing it.
Right.
But you need to understand money, how it works. And so many times what is happening in the left side of the political spectrum, many times, in order to understand money, you have to run a small business.
Right.
And when you run a small business, you understand what
You got to
money
balance
means.
it all.
Right. And also, you know that
Right.
more than 85% of, according to Forbes, I think 85% of the small businesses fail in the first 5
Sure.
years. And that's their whole livelihood. And they're taking,
Especially a restaurant.
exactly. And so they are doing this out of their passion. They
Wow.
wanted to do, and you know that small businesses are our backbone of
Every bit of it, yeah.
our country.
Right.
And so these people, some young people come, and and if you remember, there is a congresswoman come from Queens, New York, and Acacia Quarters. She went and told all the people who live in apartments and all. She said she will pay the rent.
Oh,
Okay, when she first ran, and I was there I was doing vacationing during that election time.
wow.
And she won, and she's maybe one of the most liberal member in the Congress right now. And so point is, she was, no offense to any job, she was a waitress. She was never had a business.
Wow. I had no idea about that
Okay.
story.
So the point is I'm trying to make is that a lot of people, they never had a business. They don't understand how a business work. And so they look at like, okay, I have so much money and I could, I create a memorial so that I could put my picture on it.
Yeah.
And so, but again, coming back, you don't borrow money
Right.
to do charity
Yeah.
or these kind of projects.
Build the roads. Yeah,
Build the
everybody
roads.
needs sidewalks for the kids. I'm with you on
And
that.
say that it is the
Wow.
memorial of whatever.
So if we the people in Fort Bend County want to be a part of providing their concerns over budget, when should they do that? And what's the best way for them to reach out to you, or what do they need to do?
you can definitely reach out to my office, and I'm our staff can direct that conversation. We like to hear, but all I ask is be gentle.
Grace, you use grace. Yeah.
Please be
Use
gracious.
grace.
And we get a lot of calls. Sometimes
Sure.
I feel sorry for our staff.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything wrong.
Right, right.
They're not political. They just
Right.
do the county business.
They're just
And
answering a phone.
what happened is when they answer the phone, they get yelled and like all that stuff. But again, people are people. I understand. So another thing is there is a budget, a draft budget is going to be proposed in a couple of weeks,
Oh,
maybe
good.
2-3
Good,
weeks.
good.
And we will make an announcement about
Okay.
it. And next time, if there is a budget hearing, and most likely we are going to have, and you need to show up and speak. And
So-
I will make sure that platform is available for you to communicate.
So, and I'm ashamed that I'm even asking this, but the agenda, when it's set and in the commissioner's court, I'm assuming by your office, when the agenda is set, can someone come in anytime and talk about their budget concerns, or do they need to wait till it's on the agenda?
It is actually, we are going to, you're definitely right, because what happened is, the way we do right now is, when a regular commissioner's court,
Right.
when you come and talk about something, it got to be on the agenda. Something about
Right.
an item on the agenda. But budget, we have a separate meeting.
Okay.
So it's a budget hearing. We are going to announce it. We are going to send
Good.
out it, all the platforms.
Perfect.
And so in between, if you have any understanding about it, and also understand, I'm only one vote.
Right.
And I always say, I'm the county judge, and the commissioners are ran 25% of the county.
Absolutely.
Mine is the most expensive vote, but still it is one.
I
And
agree.
but and you need to talk to everybody.
Sure.
You need to talk
Sure.
to everybody, because it is not just me. I mean, one vote is not going to change anything.
Sure. So-
and yeah.
Just so they understand what you just said. So when the 5 votes are at the table, whether they had talked to Andy Myers or they had talked to Dexter McCoy or whoever they talked to,
Correct.
each of those votes are going to be cast on this new budget, right? So they don't have to just talk to their precinct commissioner, correct?
Not necessarily.
Anybody.
Because, no, absolutely. Because what happened is, obviously they are elected for that 25%.
I agree.
But the thing about it is they're making decisions. Okay, if you are in precinct 1, a precinct 3 commissioner or 2 commissioner are going to vote on a budget
Affects the
which
entire
affect
county.
you too.
Yeah.
So that means your communication can be
Right.
with all.
So
all-
feel free to call Vincent
all-
Morales,
yeah,
whoever
all
it
court
is.
members, all court members.
I got kind of people got frustrated with me at a recent event, and I think you'll appreciate this. In Sugar Land, I represented 115,000 people, and I told them at a recent event, look, folks, I've spent 5 years representing you, and very few, like on a hand, very few of you have ever reached out with your concerns. And they all looked at me, and someone said, well, I should have contacted them. Well, how do you contact, in your case, 1 million people, in my case, 115,000? They need to let us know when they have a concern.
It is absolutely what I will ask. There are numerous platforms in Fort Bend County, and in between, if you allow me, I will also mention, because we are right in the middle of hurricane season.
Oh, yes. And you're Mr. Emergency Management.
Yeah, I'm the Director of Emergency Management. I want you to, those who are listening, please go ahead and sign up with, or engage with the Office of Emergency Management, have platforms, whether it is social media and other emails and web page. And also, I'm sure your commissioners and, Health and Human Services, our office have platforms. Make sure you pay attention to what is going on. And, even there is an emergency, there's a lot of rumors fly around too. And so get the information from the right people and right place.
Yeah.
More than that, you could sign up for something called Everbridge. The Everbridge, you sign up with 888-777 is the number you punch in, and then you punch in the message area FBC alert, and send that. And so that means you are automatically going to be added to that.
That's cool.
And the beautiful thing about it is, we are not going to, first of all, we are not going to sell your number, or we are not going to do any of that stuff. And we only send it to you if it is important to you.
Right.
Because if somebody living in Full Share, something bad happened in Arcola, Fresno area, we could, on the screen, we could make a circle and make sure you'll be sending it to only
like
those
geotracking.
people. Geotracking.
They know. Sure.
So we could do that. And so sign up with that, and we will, and I always say that we are not going to bombard you with all the messages. If we need it, we will send it to you. Because one of the reasons text is so important, I don't know you know this, excuse me, emails, when you look at it, around less than 20% of the emails are looked at.
I agree.
But text is more than 98%. Now it is going down because you get all kind of this
the junk
spam thing coming. But text, more than 98% of the texts are looked at.
Good.
So that's why it is one of the best way to communicate. Coming back, and I was just saying, sign up with these platforms and pay attention to what is going on, because it is, everything we do is your tax dollars at work.
So I want to add to that. Many people, not everyone knows this, but many people know, I do disaster relief all over the United States. I love doing it. It's a passion of mine. But what frustrates me about my local neighbors is they don't prepare with the simple things. As we enter into these potential hurricane season moments, they're not preparing at all. They're not preparing for their power. They're not preparing for their food. They're not preparing for their medicine. They're just not preparing. And not just, not as an elected official for as long as I did that, but as a neighbor, I need to help the people that need the help the most. Meanwhile, people are not even providing their own food and their own medicine. And I really would challenge each one of you, as you're preparing to do what the county judge is telling you, think about your own family, because if you get off the list of needing help, we can go help people that need absolute help. And so I'm sorry I had to inject that, but and I don't want to digress too much here, because I want to go to the what I call the elephant in the room here. You and I certainly want to talk about it because you touched on it earlier. Yesterday, it was like you rang a bell that was heard certainly across Texas. Yesterday, you said you are leaving the Democrat Party and you are going to the Republican Party. And I got to tell you, it's all I have read about. It's all the noise I hear right now. And that's why I had contacted you and I said, okay, Judge, if you want, please come tell the story in a way I'm not aggressive towards you, in a way that you want to tell the story so that people understand more. And you don't have to go into details. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But right now, everybody's kind of scratching their head saying, what just happened? If you want to share that, please do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want people to know that this is not something happened yesterday.
Right.
This has been happening maybe more than a couple of years.
Right. Wow.
That's where this side, you heard the conversation of weaponizing government.
Yes. I've
And
heard
right now in Fort Bend County, and I'm very disappointed and I'm disgusted by what is going on in Fort Bend County District Attorney's Office.
that. Wow.
Every citizen should be concerned about it. And if they can go after me the way they are coming after me, anybody and everybody is a fair game.
Wow.
And there are stuff you could look it up, and and they drop charges on people who they please to and help. And if they're friends or wrote a campaign, a big check or whatever, or they come after people like me for frivolous things. And if anything at all, if they are talking, this all a Texas Ethics Commission issue.
Wow.
Ethics Commission issue. And if campaign related anything is a Texas Ethics Commission issue. And I'm not saying they should not be, if I did something wrong, nobody is above the law.
Sure.
But the thing about it is there should be definitely some judicial contact and some independent way of looking at these things. As a matter of fact, tomorrow we have a hearing about our attorneys asking these judges should be recusing themselves from this particular legal issue because they all come in front of us asking for resources and their budget is their salary, including their salary. We approved their salary.
Wow. I wasn't expecting this part of the conversation.
And so the point
I don't
is,
follow any of that.
No, so
Okay.
the point is there is clear conflict of interest.
Wow.
And so we are asking, we are hoping we are going to be successful in that. And so coming back, also, I tell you, every citizen should feel safe about a justice system. That's why it's called a justice system. But now what actually we are seeing here is using Fort Bend County, yesterday I said this. So a group of people in the DA's office, which include the DA, is coming after me to extend their radical left side agenda. And I have no problem saying that, and simply to destroy me both personally and politically.
Well, I got to tell you, so I feel a little embarrassed at the moment because I've not followed any of that.
And I tell you this, one thing is, I even tell you this, I don't know you know this. My previous attorney was offered, if I resign and go, they will drop the charges. So it is not about the charges, it is about somehow they want me out of there. And one thing I wanted to be very clear. I'm not backing down. Absolutely not. Yeah. And I will stand up and fight. And I wanted to, if I did something wrong, let the justice system decide it. But some people using the justice system to destroy some people's, their reputation, their name, and their future, and also their family. My family did nothing about any of this stuff, and they dragged me through all this stuff. And I still remember my daughter was saying, I'm scared to go out because they publish my address, and so this news media come and sit in front of my house. And there's nothing illegal. They're sitting on the street. Mm-hmm. They could do whatever they wanted to do because they're public space. And nobody, no child, we all have children. No child should feel scared in their house. And that's the impact of this frivolous thing they're putting. And they will, and I'm confident they will pay a price for this.
I wasn't expecting this conversation at all.
Yeah, but I said this yesterday. I'm just repeating.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I saw a lot yesterday. I don't want you to feel like you got to get into any of that.
No.
I feel like when unhealthy things like that are discussed, it's going to affect the entire county, every family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
And so, wow.
tomorrow somebody deciding to move from Chicago or California or somewhere, they say, "Oh, I'm not going to Fort Bend County. I could go to Northside or somewhere, or I'm going to Austin or Dallas, or they have so many choices." And this
Right.
is unfortunate.
Right.
And this never should be this way.
Okay.
And you know what? If they found I did something wrong, they should be reporting to TEC, not taking it in their hand. And they did, after all this stuff, embarrassment and this and that. And it even get interesting, So, like I said, my attorney specifically said, don't talk anything about the
Sure.
case, which I'm not going to. But there's so much happening, and when hopefully we get together one more time in the future, we will talk about a lot of things, and we will see some success in the legal side of it. But meantime, from yesterday, Fort Bend County Commissioners Court is a 3-2 Republican majority Commissioners Court.
That's going to affect the county.
That's where we are going
Wow.
to have a conservative budget, and our I'm looking forward to working with my fellow commissioners like Commissioner Myers and Commissioner Morales.
And you're looking for grace.
I am asking for grace.
That's it.
And because if I don't show it to
Sure.
you what I am saying, it's easy to say things.
Right.
If I don't deliver to you, and I understand, you could come back and whatever, slap
Yeah.
me or whatever, right? But
Well, my whole point here was to talk about Fort Bend County. I feel like we've done that. You've certainly shaken things up a bit politically. I definitely don't want to get into your current situation with the DA's office. None of that's my business. I tell people all the time, I've been in law enforcement long enough to know one thing. You ready? Not everybody's guilty.
yeah, until
Okay.
yeah,
I'm just telling, not
but
everybody's
in,
guilty.
but in
I've
in
learned.
politics,
Sure.
what happened is you can simply tarnish somebody's reputation.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Well.
This never should be dragged this
Right.
long, and they just wanted to keep dragging.
Yeah,
so that the next election coming, right?
And
That's
it all
yeah.
affects the county. That breaks
People-
my heart for the county.
people,
Yeah.
and they're looking at because everything is phenomenally working out in Fort Bend County, and we took our county to be a very different level,
Right.
and and that is, I always say that even in when I got reelected, it is another blessing, and not because KP George is some Superman or anything.
Right.
We work hard, and that is one thing I wanted to tell you, those who are watching and listening. Nobody is going to outwork me, and we are used to working hard, and we will continue to work hard.
Well, I'll tell you, I know some moms that could probably outwork you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. You're right.
Because
And I
I've
don't-
seen them work hard.
You know what? I don't want to, absolutely don't want to disagree with that. And so maybe
Yeah.
I rephrase.
I got you.
Except some
Politically
except
speaking,
some
I
moms.
got you.
Yeah.
So any other thoughts about the county? Any other thoughts about maybe share with us as we end this, like your favorite thought about Fort Bend County? Maybe an experience you had or something you see coming, your favorite thought, your memory, or your projecting into the future.
26 years ago, when we decided to move from Queens, New York,
Yeah.
I asked somebody who live in Sugar Land or Fort Bend area, hey, I had 2 children at the time, little kid, 5 and 4.
Yeah.
So where is the good schools are? They said, all good schools are in Sugar Land.
Wow.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah.
I mean, they're so biased about it, and so they told me I came and bought a house in New Territory. And
yeah.
our children went to Brazos Bend Elementary, then Setashia, and of course high school. They went to Hightower and
Sure.
Elkins and all that stuff. And 3 of our children did exceptionally well. When you talk about something special about Fort Bend County, a lot of things are special about Fort Bend County.
Come on, you got a
Fort Bend-
favorite.
Fort
Come on.
Bend, I don't know. I mean, there is a lot of things. Do you know that we are the second best place to live
Of
in
course.
state of Texas?
Of course.
And we are one of the most educated community. We are second. It move up and down all the time. Last I checked, we are the second richest county in state of Texas. And there are so many things, but I like the fact that Fort Bend have a tremendous history.
Yeah.
And many people I ask, hey, do you know how we got the name?
Oh, they don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know, and they don't know.
They don't know. I said, you go look at the Google map
Yeah.
and you see how Fort Bend, the Brazos River is flowing, and there was a bend,
Right.
and they had a fort there because that's the best place to protect
Right.
themselves, and
And
that's
it didn't go in anywhere.
right,
It's solid.
Right. Majority of the counties in Texas are named after a person.
Isn't that something?
We are named after that fort
Yeah.
at the bend.
Isn't that great?
That is
that's
phenomenal.
great.
So we are so unique, and I am thinking, I never thought when I packed up and left the other side of the world, oh, I'm going to come to Fort Bend and live here. But I'm glad I came here,
Sure.
and this is my home, and I lived here, and I raised 3 children successfully, and my son is a. They all went to Fort Bend schools in Sugar Land area, and my son is a pediatric nephrologist at UT Southwestern.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, and that's all only can happen in this
Sure,
country.
sure.
And my daughter is a traveling nurse, and then my little girl just graduated from UT. She is leaving home in 2 weeks to go to Erie, Pennsylvania for her medical school.
Wow, UT,
yeah.
medical school.
No, Erie.
Oh, okay.
Erie,
okay.
Pennsylvania.
Okay, I
Yeah,
got you.
so-
Where'd she go to school here?
UT
Yeah, okay.
Austin.
Yeah,
UT
yeah, I got
Austin.
you.
Sorry, UT Austin.
Right.
She's a Longhorn and all that stuff. so I am very blessed.
Sure.
And as I mentioned, my wife is an educator, and she's always been, and
Wow.
even now. And we are very blessed. And now my goal is to literally to make sure, that at the county level, not like city, we get paid to do our job.
Sure.
And I'm very blessed about that, but it's all about giving back and making sure whatever the people give it to me, that power, that vote of confidence they call. I never took that lightly, and you could agree, disagree with the decisions I made or I agreed on, but the thing about it is I never took that lightly, and no decision was personal interest to make certain things the way I want.
Right.
No, it was all, I always thought about the residents of Fort Bend County, because this is my home. And I cannot even imagine anywhere else I'm going and living and none of that stuff.
Not Queens, New York.
No, not Queens. I'm so happy, and we have family. We have so many
Right,
families in
right.
New York, and we love to visit them
Right.
once a year and stuff.
And come back.
Come back as quick as possible.
So, Dr. Lalani, state rep, Dr. Lalani, he gave me a one-liner years ago. In fact, it was on Howdy Fort Bend. He made the comment, he said, when we are elected, we're not given power from the people, we are given their trust. And I never forgot him saying, I mean, that's rich, because they're giving us their trust, and we better never forsake that.
You're absolutely right about that. I always say this. I could play all the games I want if I choose to and all that stuff. I could tell you a good story and everything. But people will see
Yeah.
how genuine you are
yeah.
eventually. They could look right through you, and I know that. And then, William, when they're standing in front of that voting machine,
Sure.
nobody is holding their hand
Right.
or, you have to do this or that.
Them and their pens.
That come from their heart.
I agree.
And so that's called a vote of confidence. Now, I don't even call it just a vote. It's really vote of confidence.
Yeah.
And that is, I never took it lightly, and I never will take it lightly, because
Well,
that's the trust.
I think what I want my takeaway to be here, and I brought it up earlier, you and I have often disagreed, and I told you that
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah.
And I tell you, I don't want to be around yes people because I don't grow. I'm good with disagreeing. And so I'm learning from you, you're learning from me, but at the end of the day, my hope is that we, the people of Fort Bend County and Sugar Land, they are taking the time right now with open mind, with open hearts, and they're following these stories, but not, as I read yesterday, they're not following just the hate, just the misinformation, but they're following the truth. And so why I wanted you to come on is to give you the moment, and I think you've done it well. You've given them a little insight into who you really are. And, my hope is Fort Bend takes this and measures it against everything else
Right.
they hear and see.
Right.
And just let's always do the right thing for the
Right.
people.
Can I say something
Please.
else? Yeah. You know that I come from the southern tip of India,
Yes.
where St. Thomas, disciple of Christ, came in AD 52.
It's a big
It's
deal.
historically recorded.
Yeah.
And many times people think some Indians, Christian Indians, come because the British was there.
Right.
No, we are first century Christians.
Right.
And I am always relied on my faith in taking decisions.
Sure.
And you could agree, you could disagree, and that's all fine, and I understand. And I always said this, I keep a Bible on my desk, and I never flinch on my faith. I respect you if you believe in something else, but this is my faith.
Wow.
And I don't know, I could lie to you, but I cannot lie to my good Lord.
Oh, right.
Right? And that's what I look
Yeah,
at it.
you
And
never will.
also, I just wanted to say that I'm not a perfect person. Nobody is a perfect person. And I wish maybe certain things I could have done differently before. And, you know, and one is actually I'm trying to fix it.
Right.
And so I just wanted to, once again, I will ask you for your grace and moving forward. And I will be delivering the conservative way, the low taxes. And, you know, I always been, and I
Right.
said this, family, God, and a society, peaceful society,
Sure.
and that all are everybody's pretty much most of our citizens believe in these things,
Sure.
and I believe in that. I hold that very close to my heart.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time and coming on, giving people a different view. I just hope people hear what I said. This is a great chance in life, whether it's someone you agree with or someone you don't agree with. Have conversations with them. And I hope this is an example of a conversation with two guys that have historically managed differently. You're going through something, I'm going through things. It's okay. Let's just talk, right? And I think this is a great example. So, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Certainly best of luck to our county and our cities. We want our children to have a better, and even I use the term all the time, I want them to have the best county they can have after we're finished with it. The
That's right.
best,
That's
right?
right.
And so I'll kind of sign off with that. And do you have any other kind of final thought?
No.
No?
Just stay connected, and
Okay.
and especially when I'm talking about when I'm talking about emergency management.
Sure.
Because last year I saw that I spent a lot of time sitting, not in the house, going
Right.
to OEM and things like that, spending time there. So you mentioned something about preparation, and
Yeah.
it is so vital. Make sure you're prepared, and do our goal. We are in a much better shape today.
Right.
We have drones, we have machines, we have robots walking around. All this stuff we never had before,
Right.
and so we are in a much better shape to manage it. But
Right.
emergency is emergency. We don't know what is coming. I leave you with pay attention to what is going to, because we are in the middle of hurricane season.
Sure.
And everything else, it all going to unfold in the coming weeks and months and all that stuff. Meantime, I really appreciate you
Sure.
and giving me an opportunity
help.
to come here and say a few things.
Yeah.
And I hope it makes sense. And thank you.
Sure,
That's
you're
what I wanted
welcome.
to say.
And I'm going to do a little, you just made me think of a little public service announcement. A dear friend of mine, she is all about a hike for hope. And a lot of people don't understand, and I want to put this out because we're coming into an emergency management season with hurricane season, and economically people are under all sorts of pressure.
Stress, yeah.
Those of you that are watching are probably aware of 911, right? When you need help, you call 911, especially urgent help. But many of you may not know about 988. And it's a shame that we don't talk about 988 more, but it's a suicide and crisis lifeline. And it's a national number now. It's, look, it's okay to not be okay, but dial 988 for some help, because we're seeing a lot of things in our nation, in our world, where people are under extreme pressures right now. And 988 may be that resource that you need. So remember, it's okay not to be okay, but please ask for help. And I'll kind of sign off with that. As I always say, howdy Fort Bend, I will see you again. Bye, y'all.